This video is sponsored by Kaamos Metal Cruise 2023.
Amassing the bodies and pits as they die, sentient and filthy they rot. Flammable and singing, discarded like waste. For the fire of the handgun, you played it all wrong. And soul and valor.
Welcome to Finnish Black Metal Review. This time we have a very active band from Finland called Kalmankantaja, Death Bearer, whatever you want to translate it. This one is Waiennut, which is not exactly typical Finnish way to put it. It's actually without double W normally. Waiennut means like silenced, gone silent. And here we have this new album with only a few tracks, but lasting quite long, which is of course Kalmankantaja trademark with lengthy tracks and all. Now throughout the years this band has been all about Grim 666, the main man, the main composer, the very heart and soul and core of the band, and vocalists have been coming and going, sometimes different vocalists to different albums. This time it's S. Kurpituli, who is a man with his own projects. So we could safely say that Grim 666 or Grim 666 is the core and heart and soul of the band, and the vocalists are more or less on the session bass. Now, music of Kalmankantaja has always been about atmosphere. Never been the most aggressive, most fast-paced, and all that kind of stuff of a black metal band. So it's more about, like you would see the photos here, nature, the feeling, atmosphere, simply put. So it's all about melodies and sometimes melancholia with keyboards and what have you, and this album is no exception. Now, one thing that has bothered me throughout the career of Kalmankantaja, which started in 2011, is that with this vast amount of releases, I mean, this is almost like ridiculous level with EPs, albums, and what have you, is that this is very much a hit and miss band. At its worst, it's actually quite bad, but this is something that happened pretty much early on when the band was still relatively new and putting out something ridiculous as 4 albums a year. Let's be honest about it, it's quantity over quality. Unfortunately, this has changed over the years, at least a little bit. However, being through most of the albums here and reviewed pretty much, well, almost all of them, I gotta say it's not still always like that you get just better overall and become more consistent and all stuff. Much like the game is with some bigger bands. Think about Iron Maiden and the like, or Metallica for that matter. I mean, it's not just like you mature and become better automatically, but vice versa sometimes. And sometimes there are bands which go with the bumpy road. Sometimes you have those peak moments, and sometimes you have those shallow ones, the low points. And this is exactly what's going on with Kalmankantaja as well. Even though I'm kind of bound to say throughout the later years the band has been getting better. Sometimes it's probably because the band actually plays live and the certain kind of a songwriting works differently there. And of course with the session members and all that stuff. Be it as it may, this album came out in 2022 already, and it has been on the pile because I was in Spain for a few months, and this album has been waiting for its turn. So curious enough, I got to review Second Death by a different label though, which came later on, and I already got to review that earlier on because I got the CD before that. So sometimes these reviews don't come in the same order as discovery, but then again, that doesn't really matter. I mean, it hardly matters because every album is supposed to be an individual release, and whether you like certain releases or not, you might not like the next one. But the thing here is, Ahdistus MMXXI, well, 21 or whatever, 2021, was actually quite a good one. It was like a new take of this early album, Ahdistus, which was released already 2014. Then again, also Second Death was quite good, which was released early 2023. However, Waiennut, which came between these two releases, is more like one of those low points for Kalmankantaja. Now, I don't pretend to know in which order these songs and releases were made, so sometimes these might be when it comes to releasing these albums. Very, very different than how they were made and all that stuff. Be it as may, this one is some 5 songs, 40 minutes plus, and I must say I'm a little bit disappointed. Basically because some of the previous ones, like I explained, are so much better, but also because this is not where the forte, the best parts of the whole band is coming into play. Yes, it's definitely atmospheric, that's kind of a given. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the certain kind of a melancholia or Burzum-like keyboard use and all. That basic foundation is very much still true with this album, and nothing wrong with that. It's basic Kalmankantaja for the better or worse. But where it sucks, in my opinion, is that this is the album where the melodies don't really get catchy and memorable and all that stuff. And even though this band is all about the atmosphere, something doesn't really click here. It's almost like these are the leftover songs rather than the killer ones, which are obviously more often present nowadays. Other thing is, these tracks are crazy long. I mean, compared to the material within. And when you have songs that are like 10, 11 minutes long, you are supposed to have some really, really good parts in order to make them memorable, which is unfortunately not happening here. As an insult to injury, I must say, the production is also quite, well, weak. The production comes with the terms like drums, which is drum machine, I'm guessing, and it doesn't sound very good. I mean, it's mediocrity at best. The same thing can be said about the guitars. They kind of like have what Kalmankantaja needs, but it's like lacking power. Maybe it's emphasized with the vocals and drums, and as such, the result is a little bit lukewarmish. And unfortunately, as much as I like Korpituli guy and his own projects as well, I must say these vocals are not as good as they used to be. So something is more like rubbing the wrong way. As Kalmankantaja release, this is mediocrity. As an overall atmospheric black metal band release, this is quite okay. But far from being the best of what Kalmankantaja has done, and still actually quite far from the worst the band has done. So I'm putting this in the middle section of Kalmankantaja discography. For fans, it's a must-have, but those who are more picky, like what kind of albums, which albums they want to go for their collection with, yeah, probably listen first, then buy if you like it. But I'm a little bit disappointed, so I hope Kalmankantaja would be more picky with the later decisions with composition, songwriting and all that stuff, and maybe cut a little bit on the length side. I know maybe it's just a problem for me, but so often bands don't really have the justification to do over 8-minute tracks. I mean, sometimes even 5-6 minutes is all that you need, and everything beyond that is just, doing it too much, over prolonging or whatever the word is for that. But yeah, this doesn't really stick, and unfortunately that's the shame with Kalmankantaja improving on the long run. We'll wait for the next one and see how it goes. Meanwhile, you go take a look and listen, and the links provided in the description box. Now off you go, enjoy, bye bye.